These are devotions for people at a social distance. This morning in my devotions, I was reading in Deuteronomy chapter 23, chapter 32. And this is an extraordinary passage. And if you're not familiar with it, it's really something you should get a little bit more familiar with. Deuteronomy 32. Now, this is towards the end of the story of Deuteronomy, the end of the story of Moses. Just before he's about to die, already his successor has been named, and he does an extraordinary thing. Now, Moses is, of course, obviously famous for writing and gathering the law, this long law code. There's lots of historical questions about, how that could have been written in the time of Moses, but I don't want to get into those because in this passage, Moses does something really different. Moses sings a song. And it's a song, and as I say, you've got to look into it. It's an extraordinary song, and it's all about using various metaphors like an eagle, just read it for yourself about the relationship between the people of Israel and their God. And what it says in verse 44 says this: Moses came and recited all the words of this song in the hearing of the people, he and Joshua, son of Nun. And by that way, the word translated recited could also be translated as sing. So it probably means that he sang the song. When Moses had finished singing all these words to all Israel, he said to them, "Take heart all the words that I'm giving in witness against you today. Give them as a command to your children, so they may diligently observe all the words of this law." So what it's saying is Moses wrote a song about the relationship between the people of God and Israel and gave it to the people and said, pass it down and hand it down. And this is probably a very ancient song. It's actually, the text itself is very difficult and contested at various points. It's very difficult to translate, probably because of its antiquity, but it is a very, very old song that was passed down. But I would note this. We normally think of Moses as being this great lawgiver, the one who writes down all of the ways you have to behave in order to be acceptable to God. That's how we think about Moses. And here in this chapter, we have this very different view of Moses. Moses the singer. Moses who says, no, it's not, you got to do this and this and this to be pleasing to God. This Moses who in song and poetry lays out this relationship between God and the people. And basically what I think it's saying is this. I mean, laws and rules, they're helpful. They have their role. But what makes us a people of God, what makes us a people who walk in relationship with God, is that story of the relationship. It's of God's commitment to us, God's care for us, the various metaphors we use to think about God. Those are what matters. Those are the foundation of who we are in the sight of God and our ongoing relationship. That's what matters. And I appreciate that in Moses. And that's why I like to be the biblical storyteller. I like to tell and retell the stories of the Bible because it's the story of that relationship, not the rules and laws and regulations that creates that relationship, that gives us the security of who we are in God. Lord our God, tell us the story. Tell us the story of who you are for us. This is what matters. Amen.